on business, but I never dreamed he'd come here.
Will you please try to remember that you're a Grand Duchess?
Darling, it's the first time in my life I haven't felt like one. He may be able to help us. A man like the Count of Monte Cristo must have powerful friends.
Baron Van Nieuwhof had powerful friends, and he's having his dinner in the palace dungeon. Perhaps his last dinner. I'm sorry. Come in.
Dinner is served at the pleasure of Her Royal Highness.
Thank you, sir.
Your Royal Highness, may I present the Count of Monte Cristo?
I'm happy indeed to welcome you to Lichtenberg.
Your Royal Highness, I can't tell you how honored I am to be here.
The Countess von Braun, the Count of Monte Cristo.
My dear Count.
Enchanted.
The Count of Monte Cristo is the last person I expected to receive here.
I hope Your Royal Highness won't think I'm presumptuous. It's terribly funny, but for a moment I had a feeling we'd met before. Perhaps it's because the Royal Highness reminds me of someone I once knew. Oh, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. But of course she was not the Grand Duchess of Lichtenberg. Oh, no. In fact, her name was Pfaffendorf.
What?
Yes, really it was, Pfaffendorf.
Well, my dear Cristo, you don't strike me as being the type of man who would let a beautiful woman escape him, even if her name was whatever it was.
Well, I did everything I could. I was even ready to joust for the fair lady's favor. And I'm not a very good jouster. But she rode off, out of my life.
Shall we have dinner?
My dear General Lannon, it's so refreshing in this day of unrest to find a country where one firm hand dictates the national policy. Why, do you know, in France it's come to the point where even a chimney sweep considers himself as good as a king.
In Lichtenberg, it is my policy to keep chimney sweeps in the chimneys.
Oh, chimney sweeps in the chimneys. Excellent, my dear General, excellent. Very funny fellow, isn't he?
I understand you're in Lichtenberg on business, Your Excellency.
Well, no, not exactly. You see...
No, he's too modest. Since 3 o'clock this afternoon, Lichtenberg is indebted to His Excellency in the sum of 25 million francs.
On the contrary, my dear General, I feel greatly indebted to you. It's such a privilege to meet a great man doing such great things for his country. One can't place a monetary value on achievement. Don't you agree, Your Royal Highness?
Gentlemen, I'll leave you to your cigars and port.
But I don't smoke. And my doctor assures me that port is the reason all Englishmen have the gout.
If you'll excuse me, I have a headache.
I'm afraid the ladies didn't enjoy their dinner.
Oh, really? I thought it very palatable.
I have to report the 10 o'clock inspection of the guard has been made.
10 o'clock? Excuse me. Must be the provincial atmosphere, but I have that drowsy feeling. Just right after a good dinner and before a good night's sleep.
Oh, I quite understand. Well, you must have had a very tiring day. Suppose we just say good night.
Ah, the perfect host, who knows the exact moment at which to say good night.
Attend His Excellency.
Schultz and I are ready.
At 11. 11. Splendid. That gives me exactly 58 minutes and 30 seconds.
This way, Your Excellency.
If you don't mind, I think I'll go this way. And I don't need an attendant. Your Highness, what a pleasant surprise. But fresh air is, I believe, the best cure for a headache. May I?
You change characters quite easily. I saw you first as a cavalier. Now I see you in the role of a fop, flattering the ego of a man that your first personality should have every reason to despise. Just what is your true character?
Oh, I'm a businessman. A banker, to be exact. I believe in making my clients feel superior to myself.
In Pet, you made me believe you were a chivalrous gentleman. I even cherish the memory of what you did that night.
I hope you believe it's my desire to add to that memory.
By lending General Lannon all the money he needs to completely destroy my country.
But loans are not based on sentiment, but on sound collateral.
And what collateral does he offer you?
A mortgage on the whole of Lichtenberg.
what you have bought as a partnership in his crimes against my people. From what I've heard of your father, he'd hardly be proud to know that his son had financed a tyrant and a traitor.
But perhaps I made this loan because I consider you the most important part of my security.
How unfortunate. You should know that General Lannon does not include me in the collateral, for the reason that General Lannon has proposed marriage to me. Also on a business basis.
You know, you're even more beautiful when you're angry.
Good night.
One thing at a time. Good night, beloved.
Therefore, I, Gurkulanen, do impose the sentence of death by hanging upon the said Baron von Neuhoff, and do order that the execution of this death warrant shall be carried out at 12 o'clock midnight, May the 10th.
Which is tonight, I believe.
Do you have anything to say?
Yes. You may deliver a last message to General Lannon. Tell him that if he hopes to bury loyalty to Zona of Lichtenberg in my grave, it will rise again to destroy him.
Guards.
Don't shoot. Just Lieutenant Dorner reporting for duty, sir.
Well, for the rest of my life, I'm going to view all fireplaces with suspicion. But it's very useful.
Well, my father and grandfather were officers of the household guard. They taught me a lot of useful things about this palace Kirko doesn't know.
Let's hope that fireplace is one of them. Are we ready?
As ready as a last hope can be.
But it's better than no hope at all.
I feel that I dragged you into this.
I galloped in.
We've one chance in 100 of getting two von Neuhoff. To say nothing of getting them out.
That makes it a sporting proposition. Shall we go?
This way.
Where's Schultz?
Making his rounds. He'll join us below. These stairs have been forgotten for 50 years.
Let's hope they won't be remembered for another 50.
In 1 minute, the sentry will inspect von Neuhoff's cell. I'll meet you at the bottom of the stairs.
All right. I better go in first. You'll be recognized on sight.
But you'd be recognized, too.
No, I won't. I decided to create another character that General Lannon doesn't know. One I hope he never will.
Well, this is the last night we'll have to do this. Good riddance. The trouble with this job, we're as much in jail as von Neuhoff. Yes, but we aren't going to hang in an hour.
Nothing new. He's sleeping like a baby.
Well, I wouldn't be sleeping like a baby.
You would if you were an aristocrat like von Neuhoff.
Now, let's have a look at him. Yeah, he's sleeping all right.
I know it by heart. The minute we get von Neuhoff out, we make for the North Tower.
Please don't be alarmed. I'll have you out of here in a minute.
Who are you?
A friend.
Young man, this is madness.
If every prisoner thought that, there'd never be an escape. Come on, we're leaving.
Take this gun, sir. This way. Quick.
bolted the door from the outside.
It's the turnkey. He's in trouble. Then we're locked in. Something's happened in there. What happened?
Quick! Men in the mask and cape took Von Newhoff. The old corridor. Quick! Good! This leads to the armory.
There are guards there. This way.
There's nothing beyond here. This is a blind corridor. Now it isn't even a sporting proposition.
The boys have been very foolish. There will be 4 of us on the scaffold now.
We haven't climbed those steps yet.
What's that? The old sewer. It runs under here to the river.
That's our way out.
Take it. Won't move.
It's rusted in.
Let's all try one side. Fire into that bolt.
All those guards off.
By the time they figure out where we are, we won't be there.
This way.
Traitorous swine.
More than fairy tales and goblins to explain this. Not even a man in a mask could disappear through these walls.
Look at that. Footprints. Finger marks. Disappeared through the walls.
You imbeciles! You stuffed dummies in uniform! The world knows that I considered von Newhoff a special prisoner. Kept him in this dungeon where I could watch him to prevent his escape. And you have dared to humiliate me by permitting him to get away. The man you were guarding was to die at midnight. You too will die in his place.
But Excellency, we're innocent.
Innocent or guilty, you will die. If only because I must show the bodies of more than one traitor to explain such an escape. Seems my orders are carried out. I'll pick up that grating.
Let me go, Excellency. Your life may be in danger.
With von Newhoff at liberty, more than my life is in danger.
In here.
When you're after sewer rats, Zimmerman, you have to go into sewers to find them.
Happy to see you.
Hunt! Go back along the branch of the sewer that leads to the palace. Keep a close watch. We may have been followed.
This is indeed a happy day for us.
It's difficult for me to speak, because I never expected to see you again. And I shouldn't have, but for Monte Cristo, who is a living proof that if justice is crushed in one land, men will spring to its defense in every land. For the spirit of justice creates a common brotherhood. Tonight you have dealt Gerko-Lannen a great blow. Not because you rescued a prisoner named von Newhoff, but because you set free a man who was a threat to his ambition. But it's no victory. Gerko-Lannen is not defeated so easily. He's lost one prisoner, but he holds another far more important, Zona of Lichtenberg. Until she is free, we have done nothing.
But it will take an army to free her.
Yes, I know it will. Our one hope is still the French. Louis Napoleon is my friend. I leave tonight for Paris.
We'll see that you get safely out of the city.
They came out of the water here. The old catacombs. Here are our footprints. They lead to this door. Break it down.
Whoever he is, this torch is dangerous. He has a sense of humor.
Good afternoon, Your Royal Highness.
Good afternoon. You surprise me. You're quite agile for a banker.
Ah, but it wasn't the banker who climbed up here. I just couldn't resist the balcony, a beautiful girl, and the impulse. I've often thought a man could make a business of freeing caged birds. So many people who appear to be free are really prisoners.
You appear to be quite free.
Oh, but I'm not. I've been a prisoner from the moment I found you in your wrecked carriage. You're a prisoner, too. It's such a pity you have to be a Grand Duchess. When there are so many roads to be traveled, mountains to be crossed, happiness, laughter, all the things you could have if you weren't a Grand Duchess.
Who would give them to me?
I would. And I could, too, if you were really Zona Pfaffendorf, a girl on her way to Paris. Love could come riding up to her carriage, but it's almost impossible for love to pass the sentries at the doors of a palace.
The man I'd welcome wouldn't find it impossible to pass the sentries, nor would it be necessary for him to enter the palace. I'd go out to meet him. A man like the torch.
What, a ruffian, a masquerader?
A ruffian and a masquerader who's unselfish enough to risk his life for others. Such a man would dare take love in his hands, be its master.
Oh, you don't think I have daring, that I could be master?
Daring in sport, perhaps. Master of money.
I was speaking of love.
That's to remind you I'm not Zona Pfaffendorf.
Oh, Your Royal Highness. Good afternoon.
Be a magician. How did he get von Neuhoff out of the palace dungeon? Those soldiers are looking for him all over the city.
Well, well, insulting, isn't it? Must be a nasty sort, this torch fellow.
If I could only lay my hands on him.
Well, why don't you just reach out and grab him? You could, you know. My, I don't envy you. Too many problems. Always worried about von Neuhoff, Louis Napoleon, and now this torch. who seems to me to be just like some character out of a comic opera.
My dear Christo, at this moment, your comic opera character is a greater menace than the French. I appreciate how really dangerous he is. I've used the same weapons he's using against me. Why, this torch is more useful to von Neuhoff than a whole army corps. Overnight, he could become a hero, a popular leader whom the people would follow blindly. Mystery, excitement, daring, those are the things that the people admire.
Really? Oh, well, then you have to catch the fellow. You've made this torch sound very formidable.
Formidable? Well, he's too clever to be run down by a squad of pig-headed soldiers. But I have my own weapons. This torch has friends, fellow conspirators, any one of whom would sell his soul for 25,000 kronen.
May I? A little closer, please. Thank you. Splendid. I'll double the reward. And furthermore, I'm willing to wager you that the fellow's nothing but a silly crackpot, with no more brains than I have.
The French ambassador.
Von Neuhoff certainly hasn't been letting any grass grow under his feet. I've been expecting him. Let him in.
Please excuse me. I find affairs of state simply horrid, and even more repugnant than banking.
His Excellency, the Marquis de Chautemps.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Sit down.
I can carry out the instructions of my government standing. General Lennon, I'm instructed to inform you that my government recognizes Baron von Neuhoff as the legal representative of the government of Lichtenberg.
Oh, really?
Either you surrender Her Royal Highness the Grand Duchess Zona into the custody of the French government, or she will be liberated by force.
My dear Ambassador, I'm not as naive as that. To you, von Neuhoff may still be the head of the legal government of Lichtenberg, but I have Her Royal Highness, who is the government itself, and possession is 9 points of the law.
Very well. I will report your answer to my government.
May I ask Your Excellency a question?
Yes?
What would be the attitude of your government if Her Royal Highness announced her marriage with one General Lenin?
Impossible.
Not at all. If she thought that there was any danger to her people of a Russian invasion, she would do almost anything to save them from such a fate.
A Russian invasion?
Surely Your Excellency realizes that Russia is just as interested as France in using Lichtenberg as a buffer against Bismarck. I can understand the readiness of your government to support von Neuhoff against me, but is it as eager to support him against me and Russia? Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Zona! Zona! The French ambassador just left in Krakow is furious.
That's because of Baron von Neuhoff. I knew something like that would happen as soon as he escaped. Oh, Mathilde, if we could only do something to help.
No, Zona, wait!
Oh, it's nothing. Oh, there's a note attached. To help Baron von Neuhoff and your people, you must escape.
A way has been planned.
Be at the postern gate, peasant dress, at 10 tonight, and trust the torch.
The torch? Maybe it's a trap, a forgery.
No, it isn't. I know it isn't. Come in. You wish to see me?
Isn't it natural for a man to wish to see the woman who fills his thoughts?
If you'll excuse me.
You may leave without an apology, my dear Countess.
Well, I never...
Your Royal Highness, I've never seen you so beautiful. You look almost happy.
My opportunities for happiness have been rather limited, General Lennon. I didn't expect another visit from you.
Did you think me the kind of man who was easily discouraged? Discouragement only makes me fight harder.
To the kind of man you are, take into consideration my feelings.
Zona, believe me, I desire your happiness above anything else in the world.
So you prove it by keeping me a prisoner, away from my friends, my people. Your kind of man, General Lennon, wouldn't hesitate to sacrifice even the woman he loved to his ambitions.
Would it be such a great sacrifice to share your throne, your life with a man who loves you?
Could you marry a woman who despises you?
If she knew how much I loved her, she wouldn't despise me. My destiny has led me to this palace. And to you.
I've already told you, General Lennon, I wouldn't marry you under any consideration.
My object in coming here was to ask you to change that decision.
That has the sound of a threat. But if I don't?
At the moment, Your Royal Highness, it is only a suggestion.
Of what?
That I should be most unhappy to adopt another method of obtaining your consent. I have no wish to press you too closely. I shall return tomorrow at this hour for your answer. And in the meantime, I hope that it will add to your happiness to know this will be the longest night of my life.
Mathilde! Mathilde!
Yes? What happened? What did he want?
Marriage. Only this time it was a demand. Oh, Mathilde, what'll I do?
You can get out of here.
Yes, but how? We'll need help.
Start. That's it. Start. We can trust him.
You're right. Get him. Start. I know how greatly Baron von Neuhoff trusted you.
Yes, Highness.
He never doubted your loyalty.
Oh, no, Highness.
I want you to help me. You must help me.
Anything, Highness.
I'm trusting you with the whole of Lichtenberg.
The torch.
Somehow you must get a peasant costume for Countess von Braun and myself. I know what a risk you take, but I promise you the reward will also be great. Will you do this for me?
Yes, Highness, gladly.
Go then, hurry.
I flatter myself I've been of some small service to Your Excellency.
You've done well, Stott.
I also flatter myself I am fitted for much larger opportunities.
A man's advancement rests upon his ability.
Exactly. I'm about to prove my ability by accomplishing something even Your Excellency has found impossible. The capture of the torch.
What do you mean? Do you know who he is?
No. But I know where he'll be at 10 o'clock tonight.
Well, come on, out with it.
Did I mention, Excellency, that I'm an ambitious man? And I'm sure Your Excellency will agree that a man who makes possible the torch's capture has demonstrated his right to larger opportunities, to say nothing of the financial reward.
You're right, Stott. What do you want?
I feel I could serve Your Excellency to better advantage as, shall we say, Chief of the Secret Police.
I've underestimated you, Stott. I admire a man who knows what he wants and how to get it. I think the man that runs down the torch should be Chief of the Secret Police.
Thank you.
And now?
The torch has a rendezvous with Her Royal Highness at 10 tonight. He has planned her escape. If you set a trap at the postern gate near the servants' quarters, you catch not only the torch, but Her Royal Highness.
How do you know?
Your Excellency forgets. I also have Her Royal Highness's complete confidence. If I can be of any further service?
Cover every inch of the palace grounds with troops and keep them concealed until the torch walks into the trap.
Yes, Excellency?
I never realized how clever Stott really was.
But this is only your signature.
Over it, write an order for the death of one Conrad Stott.
But I thought...
If he will betray Her Royal Highness, he will also betray me. But do not carry out the order until after we've caught the torch.
Everything's arranged, Your Highness. There's a peasant car waiting outside the gate.
Stand where you are.
Stand clear.
Throw down your sword.
I'll be glad to give it to you.
Stay out, Zimmerman. This is my pleasure. By the way you handle your sword, you must be a gentleman.
My father was the best swordsman in France.
My father was the best swordsman in France.
Don't worry, I'll be back.
Monte Cristo.
After him.
I told you the torch would be here, and now he's got away.
Start.
Yes, Your Royal Highness. Stop.
Zimmerman. Conduct Her Royal Highness to her apartment and keep her under constant guard. She's not to go anywhere or see anyone without my permission.
If you please.
Halt! Good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening.
Are you badly hurt?
Oh, no, it's just a scratch.
I was worried about you, so I followed you here.
You came in without knocking.
Yes, I'm a spy.
Now I understand. Well, what do you want, Stat?
You know, it's very difficult for a man who's always wanted everything to suddenly discover he can have everything he ever wanted. Just, what do you consider your life worth? For instance, it's worth 25,000 kronen to Gurko Lenin, dead or alive.
It's a miserly offer, don't you think? I'm worth much more to myself.
It is strange how one's sense of values changes. Before I discovered you were the torch, I thought 25,000 kronen was a fortune. But now, I realize you could toss that amount to a beggar. And, I do not have to beg.
You're a very clever man, Stat. Would you mind telling me how you found out about this?
I've always